Oh, I love log rolling. It's a very unique sport. I tell somebody I'm a log roller and they have no idea.
So Shauna Martin is spreading the word, one log at a time, if you will. Martin's balancing act on water is just one of many challenges Shauna successfully is chopping down, such as teaching kids at the YMCA how staying afloat on a wood pole in water can be fun.
It looks so simple and so boring, but it's actually a very complicated sport that takes a lot of technique, a lot of practice, a lot of endurance, a lot of strength.
Attributes that help Shauna deal not only with log rolling, but also life. Martin's mother, Deb, is afflicted with Huntington's disease, an acute disturbance of the central nervous system.
Do you remember how I was on ESPN last year and they talked about Huntington's disease and everything? She actually started showing signs while I was being born, but my mom was adopted, so they weren't aware that this genetic disease was in her family. When I was 5 years old, they finally figured out that it was Huntington's disease, unfortunately. We were hoping it was going to be something less serious. And we knew over the years it was going to get worse and worse.
A fate Shauna knows she has a 50% chance of genetically inheriting. But instead of weighing on her mind, it's a fact that shapes Martin's life mission.
Sports and athletics and being busy, always having something to do has kept my mind off of the whole situation. I really think that anybody who has something hard going on in their life, to be able to stay busy and not have time to sit around and feel sorry for themselves is probably the best way to go. Without sports and all the things that I'm involved in, I don't know what I'd do.
What Shauna does do is keep living life to the fullest, one day at a time, proving that in life, like log rolling, falling down is only defeat if you don't get back up again.
I believe I'm a stronger person because I've grown up around such other strong people who have kind of made me grow up a lot faster. So there's always a silver lining to every cloud.
I love competitive golf.
Dick Pomo has a love-hate relationship with golf.
What the heck am I doing?
Which is exactly why he's like everyone else who's passionate about this game. But there is one noticeable difference.
Bingo! In the cup. Good putt.
Pomo is blind.
Many, many years ago, children who were born premature were affected when they discovered that by keeping children alive, it was necessary to put them in an incubator. However, they didn't control the flow of oxygen, and they didn't realize that that often destroyed eye tissue, and in my case, affected the retina. It just finally gave out about 5 years ago.
Even while his vision was turning light into darkness, Pomo's desire to hit the links never faded away.
I knew that blind people played golf. My biggest fear was, could I keep playing golf? It took some adjustment, because even with a little bit of vision, I could see the ball on the club. And it took me a year or more to get that out of my head. Now, it doesn't even enter my thought now of seeing the ball. It's just knowing that it's going to be there, and if I make the right swing, I'm going to hit it. Straight as a string.
What Pomo also uses to navigate his way around the course is a coach. Sometimes his wife, or sometimes a friend, but most importantly, someone Pomo can trust to guide, explain, and share the experience once referred to as a good walk spoiled.
There's no way that I can put into words what my coach Ernie and my wife Sharon, who's my coach, do for me when I'm out there. There are many times when we hit a bad shot where the coach feels worse than we do, because they take on that part of the team.
Sometimes he can blame the coach, but most times, as he points out, like I tell people when I play with him, if he's beating me, all I have to do is aim him in the wrong direction.
While it's easy to see some of the differences between Dick and, say, a sighted golfer, when it comes to reasons as to why to play this game, well, for Dick, it's more than meets the eye.
I think the need to punish myself for some past sins. I like golf because it reflects life. I get philosophical, but it is true. You don't change the rules of the game because someone has a disability. They just accommodate my inability to see where the ball is going.
But Pomo is reluctant to use the word inspirational to characterize his example and not giving up in the face of such adversity. Still, that doesn't mean the significance, to use golf vernacular, of Pomo's daily grind is lost on him or those who see that he's way ahead on a bigger scorecard, that, like for the rest of us, being way above par is a good thing.
If there's something you like to do and suddenly you're faced with a disability, You may have to take a look at it and say, can I continue to do that? Maybe not as well. You don't always have to be the best at everything we do. We don't have to represent and carry the flag for disabled people every time I play golf. I play golf because I love it. The fact that I happen to be blind is simply a small factor of the whole process.
Bingo, in the cup. Good shot.
We knew sooner.
One of those had to go in.
If they could do that in a tournament.
All right, here you go.
Well, the reaction was pretty mixed. Some people really thought I was on the crazy end of things, and other people were right behind me.
A common response for anyone attempting an arduous task, like that of training for and then doing the Ironman triathlon. But for Pete Daly, those emotions are heightened by the added weight he's carried since doctors 3 years ago delivered those fateful and possibly fatal words.
Pete, you got cancer. The moment was pretty shocking itself. I couldn't quite believe it. And feeling healthy at the time was sort of a shock to the system. My world changed. Everything looked, felt, tasted different after that point.
The first difference? Daly now trained with an even greater purpose, to live, and to finish the 2004 Ironman Wisconsin. All the while, what started out as an eraser-sized bump on his arm seemed to be under control. But like a triathlon itself, this race held many unforeseen turns. A year ago, only weeks before the race, doctors discovered the cancer had not only returned, but spread to his back, brain, and his foot. The latter of which forced doctors to advise Daly he could still compete, but as if adding insult to injury, Pete was ordered to walk, not run the entire 26.2 miles.
It looked pretty bleak last year. When it first showed up my foot, just having a reoccurrence as a cancer patient is the ultimate downer. And having it show up on something that was sort of crippling, if you will, really got to me. Until I walked the first couple blocks of the Ironman marathon course, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it or not myself.
Daly's doctors gave him a 50-50 chance for survival, but even being dealt such a grim prognosis, the obvious and understandable reaction of "why me?" never entered into his mind.
I got to deal with this. I got to bring the best tools to bear, both mentally, spiritually, and medically to deal with this.
Daly did complete the 2004 race, and now he's back to do it again. Only this time cancer-free and with the green light to run, which Daly sees as another sign he's been given a second green light to live again, thanks to finding, if not a cure, then at least a mental and physical pick-me-up through his training.
I think it has a lot to do with it, not maybe so much the Ironman per se or the athletic endeavor, but having goals set out ahead of me, having that dreamland to be thinking about in the midst of my treatment. Coming out of a shock with sort of being a different person in many ways. In the simplest sense, the fall colors on a tree look 10 times as vibrant now as they used to be. My relationships with my family, my kids, my wife, just has added dimensions that I never anticipated or appreciated before. As trite as it seems, live in the moment, live right here and now. Since my diagnosis, that's the way I live.
She's always been very athletic.
I always know when Shauna picks a lane, she's going to go for it.
They were going to have to drag me off this floor. I think they did.
For Shauna Nichols, you could say what defined her as a player also sowed the seeds for her tumultuous journey through her young adult life. Nichols' hard-nosed defensive style was compared to that of her friend and fellow Milwaukee Pius alum, Mike Kelly. Kelly turned playing defense into an art form while leading the Badgers to the Final Four. And Nichols was more than willing to try to follow her hero's footsteps, leaving it all out on the floor, literally.
But I took a lot of pride in it because I loved being able to do it. It was a huge momentum changer. So you kind of learn to flop before they hit you.
But that source of pride soon turned into a problem.
I honestly don't remember the first one.
What was first thought to be back problems from all the hits Shauna took would eventually be diagnosed as the effects of multiple concussions. How many is not known, but Nichols estimates that the UW medical staff and her doctors concluded that there were at least 6 or 7.
When the injuries started, I think I was always sitting on the edge of my seat because there was always that concern, is she going to go down again?
When you're a player with that type of passion and you're unable to play anymore, it's hard to keep a seatbelt on.
It's like a boxer, you know, you can only take so many shots to your head.
But while the source of Shauna's pain was in plain sight, the result and struggle to deal with it was becoming dangerously private.
I remember drilling her about it after games and saying, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? Because when you went down, it sure looked like your eyes were rolling in the back of your head.
I kind of hid that for a little while, which might have been silly on my part. I think as an athlete, you don't see 10 years from now, you don't see 5 years from now, I don't see after graduation.
The end of Shauna's time on the court as a Badger came swiftly in preseason practice before what would have been her junior season. A final straw for the player who considered herself unbreakable.
As soon as those words came, like honestly, like I could say that was maybe the most painful experience I've had in my life, because like you never think it's going to happen to you.
As I told her, it's more important for you to come out of this, get your degree, and be able to walk away from it healthy and still be able to produce in life and enjoy life.
The beginning of the healing process for Shauna's physical and psychological pain was not as easy as just taking her out of harm's way on the court. As she spent that time sitting on the bench after redshirting, in some ways, the pain was just beginning.
I still have headaches every day. Like it's going on, what is this, four years, I think? But I would do it all over again if I could.
Shauna Nichols pulls up and scores.
I am a basketball player, and I'm always going to be a basketball player. I know that there's so much more out there, but it's just like this is like the love of my life.
At the same time that cloud was hanging over the love of her life, as Nichols refers to basketball, who Shauna was as a person was becoming clear to her. And freeing her mind of this news would help Nichols find a place in this world and bring her peace off the court in a time of turmoil on it.
It was one of the best things in the world that I could ever have done for myself.
We're in the car and we're on the belt line.
It was after a game.
And I said, do you have something to tell me, Shauna?
So I'm like, what's the problem? What's going on?
And I said, oh, this is when you're going to tell me you're gay.
I think my whole family knew. They were just waiting for me to kind of come to terms with it and be like accepting of myself.
And I remember telling her afterwards, I said, don't live your life the way other people think you should live your life.
And I think it finally kind of closed the chapter of like my coming out process.
In fact, you could say the timing of Shauna's revelation, which coincided with her basketball career as a Badger, prematurely ending due to her history of concussions, served as a jumping-off point to the next chapter of Shauna's life.
I feel like I'm playing Operation.
One filled with EMT training with an eye towards becoming a firefighter and serving as an analyst for FSN North broadcast of Badger women's basketball.
Along with former Badger Shauna Nichols.
What was the mentality at halftime, Jolene? What did Coach Stone tell you guys?
All of which helped define Nichols as not a gay woman, but a woman who just happens to be gay.
It doesn't define who I am. Again, it's just another part of me. I like chocolate ice cream and I like girls.
I want my daughter to be authentic and be genuine and be true to herself. It's not the defining moment. It is just a piece of who you are.
Shauna hopes opening up about her life on and off the court will serve as a lesson to others. But one thing it can't do is bring closure to her true love, basketball, which is why she's making a comeback to Division II St. Joseph's in Indiana.
It doesn't seem that like I can get this out of my system. It's kind of in me. And I think it's something that I at least need to try. I think my mind is there, I just need to get my body there, and I'm excited to give it a shot.
Due to Shauna's medical past and the uncertainty of what could happen, should Nichols, who still experiences headaches every day, suffer another blow to her head, that feeling of excitement is not universal.
With every attempt, I would like to try to talk her out of playing again. My advice is don't do it. Let's look at other directions in your life. Look at what the ramifications could be if you are seriously injured once again.
I think it's more important for you to be able to remember what your name is and what your phone number is, and more importantly, what my phone number is and my birth date.
And her response, of course, is, but you don't understand. You don't understand. So I told her I didn't want her to play, but I would support her, and I love her, and I'll be there for her.
Still, despite the medical risk and the uncertainty of it all, Nichols sees a clear and personal reason to make what she calls one of her big girl decisions in life. A choice made now that hopefully brings resolution in her future.
I think the most important part is then I can also sort of move forward with my life as maybe not being a basketball player, and I can kind of then feel good about kind of leaving the game on my terms. I'm excited, I'm so determined, and I can't wait.
Are you happy with the direction that their leadership is taking college sports as a whole right now? I'm having a hard time imagining you, your lieutenant governor, a couple of state senators hanging out around the water cooler talking about the Packer or Badger game the night before. Does it happen in your line of work where you do that around the office?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Do we have a steroids or human growth drug problem in this country? What do you hope they write or think that they'll write about you, your time here, and what you were able to accomplish? What matters to you most in that paragraph? Writing a book, an athletic director, TV commentator, so much for easing into the golden years.
Well, I like to stay busy.
Dog trash talk! I hate it! Phew. I'm sorry, I hope that didn't bother her. Oh yeah, it's not just like my car at home.
Wait a second. Let somebody with some real hops try this.
Are you serious? I don't even think you can jump up and touch my hand.
Looking good, guys, looking good. Keep it up. Keep up at the top. Good luck, keep it going. So when is the 36-hole leader at the PGA Championship not the lead story? Most of Badger Nation is hoping the headline after Sunday's game goes from On Wisconsin to Go Pack Go. Welcome back once again to Indy, where no, it was not a dream. The Badgers actually did beat the Wildcats last night to earn their first shot at a national championship since 1941. Sit back and enjoy the final 40 minutes of the season, and hopefully when it's all said and done, the Badgers will be using the official ladder to cut down those nets.